Renegade Rousey, and this is the Left Hook Boxing Show. And the subject of today's show is the Boxing After Dark results from the fights last night on HBO. And how about a hell yeah for Kermit Cintron? I feel like he was the winner inside the ring and outside the ring last night. He was definitely the star of the evening. And I saw a video of Kermit Cintron prior to his fight. And this fight that he had, and it was in his gym, and he was training, and he said, "Man, I'm working hard. I'm busting my tail, getting ready for this fight," and it showed in the ring last night. His props need to go out to Ronnie Shields, his trainer, for developing an outstanding strategy to fight a pressure fighter. You know, Alfredo Angulo, his opponent, was supposed to be the rising star. He was supposed to be taking a step to move towards the elite fighters in the divisions, but instead it was Kermit Cintron on the comeback trail. And Kermit Cintron has 2 losses on his records, both of them to Antonio Margarito. He had another fight, his last fight against Sergio Martinez, where he walked out of that fight with a draw, but many people, me included, felt like he lost that fight. There's a little bit of questionable officiating in that fight, and but he walked out with a draw. But last night he came to fight, and he did a tremendous job. And the thing that he was doing is Angulo was pressuring him, but Cintron was working the left jab, working the jab, scoring points. He would get in there and do exchanges, but he would get in and then he would get out. He would move. He was moving very effectively. Angulo, again, a pressure fighter, trying to pressure him up against the ropes so he could gain the advantage and just exchange blows, but Cintron would not allow him to do it. When Angulo would get him up against the ropes, which was not very often, what Cintron did was he would clutch and he would push Angulo to the center of the ring so that Cintron would have area to where he could move and move out of trouble. He did that constantly. The fight was 116 to 112 decision, which basically means that Cintron won 8 rounds, Angulo won 4. I only had Angulo win in the 5th round, but I think the judges looked at some of the blows that Angulo landed, some of those rounds. I think Cintron, for the most part, landed the most punches in every round. There were a couple of rounds towards the mid to late where Angulo was landing some good power punches. Cintron's face was swollen a bit, but still Cintron was the aggressor, the person who was throwing, the busier fighter, landing the jab, moving, and like I say, when he got into trouble, he got out by clutching and moving to the center of the ring. And he probably is going to get a fight with Sergio Martinez again. That's going to be a good fight. Angulo, for his part, he's now 15-1. He is a good fighter. If he, like they say, styles make fights. If he can get in the ring with a fighter like a James Kirkland who comes forward like he does, and they meet in the middle of the ring and they sit and slug it out, that's going to be an entertaining fight that Angulo could put on. But against a boxer that can move, like Cintron was able to move, against the elite fighters in the divisions, the ones that can move, Angulo's going to have to develop the ability to cut off the ring and work it to his advantage so he can get that fighter, his opponent, in a corner or in a place to where he can exchange blows. And I think if Cintron would have made the mistake of standing in the center of the ring and slugging it out with Angulo, I think he would have lost the fight, because Angulo took some blows and he got rocked, but he was able to hang in there. I mean, Cintron landed some powerful blows, but Angulo was able to take him. And I think, like I say, if they would have stood in the center of the ring, Cintron would have thrown some power punches, but Angulo would have thrown some, and I think he would have rocked Cintron. But Cintron played his strategy, and he played it perfection, and he won, and he was a big winner for the night. Hell yeah. Very an entertaining fight put on by Cintron. I look forward to seeing him in other fights, and he won a fan last night in me by the way he performed. He worked hard, and it showed in the ring, put on a good show for the fans. Now, the other fight on the card was Berto against Juan Urango. In this fight, the thing that impressed me about Berto was his incredible speed. The thing that that caught my ear or my eye was that the wind whistling when Berto would throw his punches. It was just incredible how fast he was with his hands. Urango just could not get in and hit him. And not only Berto does he have the hand speed, he has the foot speed. He was running around the ring in Urango, again, another pressure fighter. But when you're a pressure fighter, you have to be able to engage the fighter, and Berto would not allow him to do it because of his foot speed and his hand speed. And the other thing about Berto, you talk about the speed, the foot and the hand, but it's also his reflexes. I mean, just dodging when Urango had his head down. I thought he might have done better if he'd kept his eyes up and looking more at Berto, but I don't think it would have made much difference because of the speed and the reflexes of Berto. He was able to dodge, and Urango would swing and miss on a lot of occasions. So Berto has incredible speed across the board. Now, this is the thing that I did not like about Berto, is that he would go in, he'd be running around the ring, then he'd go in and exchange with Urango, but instead of moving out, he would clutch. And that is just not something that is very entertaining to watch. And in the arena last night, there were a lot of booing going on. Now, I don't blame this on Berto. You could tell that when he went to his corner and talked to his trainer, the trainer said, hey, when you go in there, don't hold on for as long as you're doing, because Berto was hanging on for a lot of time, and the referee was having to go in there and separate him. And a lot of people were surprised they didn't take a point away from Berto for his clutching. But you could tell that the trainer had told him to do that. I guess he was fearful with a puncher like Urango, that if he stood in there, that Urango might catch him. But, hey, when you're a fighter, you got to take chances. And this, if you're trying to win a fight, which that's what he was doing, he did a good job. But when you're wanting to get to the elite level, and you want that pay-per-view money, you want the fans to shell out $50 to see you fight, well, we do not want to see a clutcher. We want to see a guy that's going to go in there and exchange, show his skills, but also take a few chances by getting in the center of the ring and throwing blows and allowing your opponent the opportunity to return the blows. And Urango just did not have that opportunity because of this whole clutching thing. So, I mean, it was an effective strategy to win the fight. But to take him to the next level, to get fans to want to see him to fight, that was not the right performance. Now, we know Berto can do it. We saw it against Collazo. We know that Berto can stand in there and exchange blows. He did it. I think the trainer was just a little fearful that he might get rocked like Collazo rocked him, so he's telling him in the clutch. But man, you've got to take chances if you want to get to that elite level, and Berto can do it. So I think the trainer needs to change that strategy of the clutching. Hey, use the clutch every now and then. Cintron used it very effectively against Angulo when he got him up against the ropes, and Cintron clutched and moved back to the center ring. But don't do it over and over again. It's just not entertaining. But Berto's a good fighter. I look forward to seeing him fight. I would like to see him take on the loser of the Cotto-Claudio fight. I think that would be a good step up in opposition for him, and I'd like to see how he does there. He's a very talented fighter. Just cut the whole clutching thing out, man. That's not entertaining. But for now, great fights, good fights, I should say, and we look forward to more in the future. And for now, this is Renegade, and I'm out.